Hello YouTube, welcome. I am happy to say that I am finally free from my shackles as the Lords of the Fallen embargo is over. As a result, I present you this podcast with a bunch of content creators, namely Fighting Cowboy, Oroboro, and Coop. But aside of content creators, we also got Tyler on the podcast, who is one of the developers behind Lords of the Fallen. And yeah, we are going to talk about the game. Please enjoy. Well, we can jump immediately to the main topic, which is Lords of the Fallen impressions. And I want you guys to tell me what you think about the game so far. What are your, like the best moments, the most memorable ones? And overall, what you think about the game. So maybe starting with, I have here Cowboy, first one in the list, so let's start with Cowboy.
Best parts were probably the umbral and changing between the various worlds and getting used to that. There's definitely a learning curve, but once it clicks, it's really fun. The lows were probably just like weird. There was a lot of weird UI stuff, and I know a lot of that has been cleared up. But I like playing through, like you'd switch armor and it wouldn't appear. So you'd switch armor and then suddenly you're fat rolling, or you would be putting runes into weapons and your damage wouldn't actually be changing until you attacked and saw that it changed. So there's just like a lot of little things that I think probably could have been improved, but the core experience, the exploration, the interconnectivity of the world, all that was really good.
Any favorite moment so far?
Probably finding the infinite poise rune, because that shit's busted.
It's how that's called?
There's the eye. So there's an eye you can get for your lantern, and the way it works is when you start charging a heavy attack, any damage you take goes into wither health, and you have infinite poise. So I would go up against a ruiner, start charging a heavy, he'd hit me in the face for half my health, and then I'd slap him back for 2,500 and immediately heal to full. And that felt pretty busted. It didn't. There's a couple bosses that it didn't work against because you had multiple damage types. So the boss would hit, and then the smite would get rid of the wither or something. But on a lot of encounters, that was insane. Because I didn't need to play spacing or parry or anything. I would go up against the
hell yeah, I can play brain dead.
I was fighting the Leprosarium Knights, the big boys with the maces, and I was just like unga bunga better and just smacking them. So
my poise better than yours. Get fucked.
Yes.
Coop, you are the another person that actually went a little bit further in the game, yeah?
Yeah, I haven't finished it quite yet, but yeah, a little bit further.
So what are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so far it's really good. Man, I'm trying to think. I have a lot of small thoughts and criticisms. I don't know if I'm ready to give it a full score yet. I want to experience PvP. I want to experience co-op a little bit more deeply.
I mean,
and I
you
obviously want to finish
right to be wrong about something. You can just address it later, yeah? Just give your thoughts. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think there's a really great core set of mechanics to this game. I feel like everything feels pretty balanced. The PvP that I have experienced has been a lot of good back and forth, except for the cowboy fight.
What cowboy fight? What cowboy
glitch abuser? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So for that one,
anyway,
to discover what happened here, we have to wait for Cowboy's video. Yeah, which episode it was?
Exactly.
Yeah, so to explain this, so I was running around in a zone, and there's an item in this game called what is it? It's like a butterfly vestige. It's basically like a homeward bone. It warps you out.
Yeah, we have that, and we have a
vestige moth,
which is like the dark sign. So we have that one too.
Yeah, so I went to use the thing to leave, and the second I queued this up, Coop invaded. So my dude had already turned into a flutter of moths and become invisible because the game was queuing me to warp out. But then it canceled that because I had been invaded. But I was still invisible. So poor Coop invades and he's just looking around like the John Travolta meme, wondering what's happening. And then here I am, able to lock on and basically like a debug camera, just chasing him down and smacking him for massive chunks of his health while he just runs like what is even happening right here.
Yeah.
Can we have confirmation from Tyler that was actually a feature and not a bug?
It was definitely a bug. We are not doing
Not-
prop hunter. We're not
Yeah.
trying prop hunter for lords or anything. So no, definitely a bug.
The good news part of that though is your character was like 100 level plus, and then my character was like level 10, and you didn't one shot me. So there's actual scaling in PvP. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think I two shot you though.
Hey,
yeah,
but
something like
not
that.
one shot.
It wasn't one shot, but
Yeah,
hey,
we'll take those.
small victories, right?
Small victories.
Yeah.
You have to be happy about
Um,
small things.
Yeah, so from a PvE perspective, I think there's like really good high notes and there's a few low notes for me. There's a couple bosses that I felt were really like I just wanted them to be a little bit more interactive. What's the name of that swamp boss?
Hushed Saint.
Boglord.
Saint.
Yeah, such
Yeah.
yeah.
I really loved a lot of what was going on there in terms of design.
You mean the guy on the horse, yeah? Sorry.
Yeah, horse guy.
Okay. Okay.
Horse
Did you knock
halberd
him? Did you
thrower.
knock him off his horse?
Nope. Didn't even know
See?
you could do that.
You can chuck a hatchet, hit him in the face, and he falls off his horse.
You can also parry him. And when you're gonna repost,
Mhm.
when you're gonna like deflect him, he's going to fall off the horse. I did it on my first playthrough completely accidentally, and then I pretended it was all intended.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like I mean, like I guess this always happens with in Souls games, but there's like bosses that I feel like I just felt like he was a really epic visual boss, but he did not feel like he was very hard at all. So I was like a little bit sad about that, just because I think I like first tried him without really interacting with his mechanics at all. So I was like, I want a little more there from that one. But overall, I would say, like, it's really like the core mechanics are really fun. The levels are so devious. Like, every encounter is like so much. Like, there's one ranged guy who's camping, and then he's got a million buddies to cover for him, and it's just like a classic Dark Souls level design beat. Yeah,
Or you have to we have to like kite the group and like peel people off pretty much like one at a time.
Yeah,
How
I'm
did y'all feel about the
wondering.
ranged guys in general? 'Cause while we're talking about range,
Oh, yeah.
dude, there were times like I remember I discovered the Shrine of a Deer quite late, and so I was looking around for it, and the archer that's like nearby that was shooting me while I was crossing the bridge. So we're talking like, I mean, this like 2 minutes of running to get to this bridge, and the archer's like, I still see you, and hitting me all the way across.
The guys in the world of Lords of the Fallen are absolute snipers, dude.
Yeah. I can't tell whether I love that or absolutely hate it. But like the fact that I kind of hate it makes me feel like it should stay in, because it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's iconic. I feel like at this point, like the freaking Chris Kyle American Sniper, like random hobo holy caster is shooting me all the way across. What's that like really vertical area that you come to pretty early?
Pilgrim's Perch.
Yeah, Pilgrim's Perch. Like it's like it's very soul. It's a very souls type experience for you to be like, you didn't kill one of the casters and then he shoots you in the ankle from like 2k away and then you die.
That's very important. Okay, sorry, Cowboy, come on.
The most soulsy guys for me were the gargoyles. Those things were infuriating because they'd all the little ones that they would hide like up on the ceiling. And unless you were like spamming lock on, they got so many because you would be in Umbral and then out of nowhere dive bomb gravity death, and you're like you
bitch. Yeah,
Those 2 points that you guys are saying has been big points in the office for a while, which is, we'll get 1 week, we'll get a bunch of people saying, how is this guy hitting me from, one whole map away? That's not fair. That's BS. And then the next week it'll be like, that guy's just standing there staring at me. This is dumb. And so we've gone back and forth, and we're kind of like, you know what? We're just gonna let them be dicks the whole way, and we're just gonna let it happen. Because
why not?
Yeah, why not? And also, you can always take cover from it or roll out of it or anything like that, which might provoke an error. The guys that you're talking about, the ones that hang on the ceiling, they were the bane of my existence, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna go through this doorway, and then it goes, oh, surprise, dives you, pulls you into Umbral, halves your health, and it's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all the experiences I had for memorable experiences. Almost all of them involved Umbral. Like one of my favorite moments early was there's that section where it's like, I'm sorry, the names are all escaping me here, but it's that lower section where you find the big bone mace and you like get a key, and when you get the key, two of those like wraith guys spawn.
you're saying under Skywalk Bridge.
Yeah,
Under the
that's
hub.
that. What's that
Yeah,
area
yeah,
called
yeah.
down there?
So it's
Under
like
Skywalk.
Yeah,
I
Skywalk.
just
ramparts or
I
something.
like I call it like under the bridge, but I mean then there's the area that's nearby that I just call like the Grand Crypt.
Yeah.
But these are my own names. These are not
That's
Hexor's
not
names.
in-game
These are my
names,
own
yeah.
names.
Yeah, so there's two Reapers that spawn there, and then there was just this really fun moment of like getting to that idol right there where you can get out of Umbral, and like the fraction of a second interaction where he's just about to chop my head off, but I successfully get out of Umbral was really memorable. And then a bunch of other experiences of like holding up the lantern and seeing something all of us like right in your face and freaking out. A bunch of those kind of emergent moments were really fun for me.
This is actually very cool mechanic about that. Just the monsters from the Umbral, when you're using your lamp, they actually want to hit you. In the process, bring you to the world of Umbral, which is very cool. Yeah, you can
I
be
love that.
forcefully get there. And about getting back a little bit to the long range assholes, let's call it that way.
Yep.
So what I have noticed across my 2 playthroughs, because this is how many playthroughs I had so far, is in this game, the utility stuff like tools, grenades, some sort of the throwing knives, crossbows, bows, magic, the distance one, something like that, all of these things are actually pretty much essential in comparison to the Souls games. And this is kind of interesting experience in the comparison to what I am usually used to. It's just, if you are not going to use these tools, you are fucked. You are going for like very bad time. And yeah, but once you actually get in these tools, like once you're gonna realize, okay, in this room that is like a full of monsters, all I have to do is to throw in the poison grenade that is going to just cover everyone in poison, and then I can just tick them off, yeah? It just makes the whole world of the difference in the way how you are approaching like stuff. Lords of the Fallen, in its very fast pace of gameplay, has its moments that are more tactical than other Souls games that I used to play, which is pretty cool. I honestly really like it. And speaking of the poison grenades, little bit of trivia. Right now they are working the way that they do not do damage on its own. They just only like tick the poison, and once you are going to poison someone, then you poison someone, and then they are receiving damage over time. When we started playtesting the game, this shit was hitting physical damage of almost 30 per hit on every tick. Aside from the like application of the poison, it was so busted. I was literally killing everything on my way just using these grenades.
I think we were trying to like, I was watching it might have been you. I was watching someone play, and it was like you would hear the hit notification every single time it would tick.
Yes.
So if you throw it and then people are walking into the cloud at different times, it like start making a beat. It was like
yes,
like
that was the case.
It's so funny.
That was the case, and yeah, it just it was so busted. Good thing that was changed because it was such a freaking cheese. But yeah, all right.
Yeah, sorry, just if I could finish my thought.
Oh yeah.
I just I was talking a bit about the ranged guys and like the composition of the like fights and stuff. Part of me wonders whether, you know, like there's a huge new population of people who have come into Souls-likes from Elden Ring, and Elden Ring is a very particular type of Souls experience that is very different from a lot of the history of Souls. So like this game, at least to me, feels more like something in the lines of like DS2 in terms of how you approach your encounters. You need to be like really slow. You need to be methodical. You need to like, yeah, use projectiles to draw one guy out so you don't get ganked by a whole bunch of people. That type of gameplay, and that type of gameplay is like nowhere in Elden Ring. I'm exaggerating a bit, but like that's really not a pattern of gameplay that I've seen from people. So I'm really curious to see once the general public gets their hands on the game. I'm really curious to see what the reactions will be. Whether people will be like frustrated because they don't have, torrent to like run past lots of the encounters, or they don't have as much of open space. Like a lot of the fights in this game are so claustrophobic. Which is good because I think it adds tension, but like I'm just really curious to see what the general reaction will be to like fights that, yeah, you have to be way slower to them, and especially when you're doing your run back, like if you die to a boss and you need to fight through those encounters again. Like I found myself getting pretty impatient sometimes, being like, okay, yeah, it's this fight that I fought like 6 times, like peel this one guy, kill him, peel this next guy, kill him, like, and getting a little bit frustrated with just how slow and methodical certain encounters needed to be. So yeah, I'm curious about that, and I'm also curious what your guys' thoughts are about that. Did you like that pacing and that style, or how did that resonate with you guys?
Actually, you know what? I think since you're asking about the general opinion about the combat of people that rather didn't play that much of the game, which gives us good opportunity because Ouroboros didn't play that much of the game. The least out of all of us. So what you think, Ora, about exactly that case of Lords of the Fallen? How is the general gameplay loop feeling like for you?
So for clarity, I'm not playing the game because I want to stream it on launch, and the embargo's still up, or else I totally would have, because I've been wanting to so bad, and that says a lot for how much I'm enjoying the game. So what was your question exactly then?
I was reflecting a little bit on the pacing. Like it's a very slow, very methodical style of combat where a lot of encounters, depending on your level, are like, peel one character, kill them, make sure not to aggro a big group of people, hide around a corner. Like something I found myself doing a lot was like, oh, there's like 3 ranged guys who are going to destroy me while I fight this melee guy. So I have to aggro the melee guy, back up behind a cover, fight him behind the cover, then slowly kind of walk up and progress.
Yeah, right.
And and I'm curious how that play style like resonates with you guys, and also maybe how you feel it'll resonate with the general public.
Again, I haven't played a lot. Like I've only played up to like the first 4 bosses. Right. Have about like 6 hours in the game. But so far, I actually love that. I love that you can't just run in and just sort of mindlessly like be the hero and just destroy everything, So
it's like, actually that's
the case for everything, for all the Souls-like games, but
strength build would disagree.
Yeah, strength build Unga Bunga doesn't care. But I love the sort of methodical approach to combat and situations, like, oh god, okay, let me try to throw a rock at this dude, get his attention, and then I'll fight him in the hallway, and then I'll go in, and there's only 2 guys to deal with now. I really enjoy that sort of mini thought process before like a battle.
I really like the fact that you actually bounce off the walls on the one-handed weapons, and you are not on the two-handed. It's actually, and the fact you can smoothly change between these stances gives a lot of
fantastic.
them. It gives a lot of the mechanical expression according to situation that you are currently in. You can just on the fly strategically change completely the way how you are approaching the certain corridors and so on. Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it was something we leveraged quite a bit. Once we had that in, it was kind of like, if you are barely not killing something and you're irritated about that, okay, fine. Then on your last hit, switch to two-handed, and then it dies. You don't need another hit for it. And then, like you said, the bouncing thing was, I mean, as mentioned before, it's a lot of the fights are very claustrophobic, so that two-handed really comes in handy when it doesn't bounce off walls.
Yeah, this is actually that's actually quite good nerf to the two-handed weapons overall. At least fast two-handed weapons, because the main issue that you have with the dual wielding overall is the fact that your moveset is not very friendly to the small corridors. I mean, like, you just bounce off the walls left and right because you have like you're going like a lot forward, basically. You have that forward momentum, and that makes you bounce a lot. So yeah, it's actually a pretty cool thing, since you basically, the way how you made it is that one-handed weapons gives you opportunity for the defensive options in the offhand. Two-handed weapons are just like, essentially, you are not bouncing off the wall and you deal more damage. And dual wield gives you the highest DPS. Yeah, is that correct? That was the essential idea.
That's pretty close. Yeah, so like one-handed is the all-rounder. We don't really have any duelist options right now. It is something that is on our wall. When I say duelist, I'm saying I'm one-handing a weapon, but I have nothing in my offhand. So we don't really have anything like that yet. For, like you mentioned, two-handed also does higher posture. Sorry, I was thinking of the actual
poise,
word.
yeah, poise damage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and poise. Yeah. So it does higher on both of those. And then yeah, if you want to go for straight damage, then dual wield is the way you want to go.
So I think two-handed was actually outclassing dual wield for me, because when you consider the extra stamina cost, like, sure, you have a small window of high damage, but like using two-handed and charged heavies was pushing out way more damage than
I actually tested that
dual wielding.
The moment you mentioned that in the content creators chat, I actually went immediately to testing that, and from my test, dual wield actually takes less stamina than two-handing. And on top of that, the thing about dual wielding in this game is you are not getting super insane boost to the damage like it is in, for example, Elden Ring, because in Elden Ring you just do like 100% of the weapon damage just like that. So you essentially, like, by having two weapons and swinging them at the same time, you have like no any sort of the negative issue related to that. Like, it's just straight up the damage boost. You're dealing twice the amount of damage. Whereas in this game you have penalty when you are two-handing, and but for example, when you are using the salts, which is equivalent of greases from Elden Ring, yeah, so you are buffing your weapon, you are buffing both of them. So yeah, let's say like,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so let's say that you are using something like Pieta Sword that has smite status effect on it, and you are going to use either the salts, or you are going to use the spell that is adding the additional holy damage, or like increases your status effect and so on onto the weapon, then you are increasing your weapon damage, like both weapons damage, dual wield damage, very significantly. So like this is basically how I see it, that on its own, the dual wield is not that crazy better than the two-handing the weapon when it comes to damage output, but it can get with proper stacking, and you can, like, it's not like you can quadruple stack essentially. You can use the salts or like the spells that buff your weapons. You can use talismans that are going to increase your damage, because you have talismans in the game that increase the damage of the holy, increase the damage of the physical, and so on and so forth. You can use rings that doing the same, and on top of all of that, you also have runes system that also increasing the damage further. You can get yourself runes that increase in like certain element type of your build and or the weapon, and if you're going to stack all of that, it turns out that dual wielding becomes very good. That's basically my experience.
Yeah, but we're talking about extremely min-maxing, and the other thing too, like, so when you were testing, were you testing lighter weapons or heavier weapons?
Both. Like when
the big thing with my test, at least, so if I'm using two heavy weapons, we're talking an extra 30 weight here. It would be the equivalent of like trying to use a grand sword and a great shield at the same time. Like, unless you're okay with being in heavy, you're not really getting away with that. And for that kind of commitment, I don't know. It didn't feel worth it to me from what I tried at least.
Yeah, I mimicked your setup completely from that what you have wrote on that chat, and I wouldn't run it. That's for sure. But it might be just because of the weapon synergy, because you've been using the Wayfarer hammer, yeah, and the sword that
Sword and teeth and skin.
yeah, and essentially one of these weapons don't have a status effect at all. Another one has the status effect, but it felt for me like there is a lot of issue coming from the fact that, well, there is lack of this min-max, basically, yeah, because like that's the problem. Like I for example, during our testing, we were testing some stuff in the PvP related to the status effects. I and head of the studio, Saul, were just dueling. And we were like, hey, it seems like that status effects actually not doing that much. And they kind of suck. Maybe that's worth of actually changing. And then Tyler is like, guys, like, you're aware that you are literally not using any weapon that is benefiting out of using this particular type of salt on them. And we followed the idea. We just took the dual wield options with the, with that are somewhat min-maxed with this buffs and everything, and it turned out very quickly that wow, it's like it's literally day and night of the difference.
So would you have to use, I guess, like double defender swords?
Yes, so something like that.
Full bleed on. I think that's like is it 300 bleed or 350?
I don't exactly remember, but yeah, like the point is to kind of for the sake of to utilize dual wielding, you have to min-max more if you want to actually make it very, very strong. Because otherwise, if you're just gonna swap like two big weapons on one hand and another hand, then it's better off to go with just, two-handing the weapon.
Two-handing one, yeah. Well, with the weight alone, too. Like, I could definitely see the viability, like using two lighter weapons that are stacked up, like using, one ignite and one... Or using double burn weapons and then the ring that also builds ignite damage, and then putting fire assaults on them just to further couple that on.
There is, if you're worried about weight, I'm not going to tell you.
I already know what you're talking about. The super.
You do. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I screwed myself out of it. Well, I mean, it's kind of spoilery. Do you mind spoiler stuff in this cast?
I wouldn't say it just because.
Okay. Let's say this: there's a decision that can be made at some point, and one of the outcomes of that decision is a busted fucking rune. And I accidentally misclicked and I screwed myself out of the busted rune, which would be needed to make what I'm talking about actually be viable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not needed 100% to be viable, but no, yeah, it would be better. And there was definitely a lot of
extra 34 weight here, right? I think.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it to you. There's also the fact that there's a lot of feedback from all of you that hey, dual heavy damage isn't very good, so that's been actually improved for a launch as well.
Hey, actually, if you were
I saw that on the last patch.
If you were to follow a certain quest line, I'm trying to be vague here, a certain quest line that removes a certain NPC, would I still be able to take care of things at Vestiges late game?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, just hearing you say that in the most vague way is fun. Will I be able to take care of things?
You would still be able to do 90% of things at that location, but the one thing
this is so ridiculous, guys.
The one thing you are asking about gets moved to a more accessible place.
Okay.
I am so thankful for you guys. And I'm sure people in the comments will too. A lot of people obviously probably haven't played the game yet. So
yeah, fair enough.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna enjoy watching you guys stream and go, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah. I am so confused with what you guys are even talking about. It is completely going over my head, and I'm all for it. It's so fun.
It's the thing that I have to give huge credit for is that your overall choices in the game that you make are not mechanically annoying. In the meaning that, the mechanics of the game are not becoming like useless because of your choice in the game or something like that. It's just basically you have a drawn line between gameplay and the story in the very healthy way. So yeah, this is something that is absolutely great about Lords of the Fallen, because
one thing on that note that I do think this could be, so there's a so I was going back through and like documenting, getting things ready for side quests for making the guide, and this is kind of one thing that I think conflicts with what you were just saying. I know there's certain NPC quest lines that involve summoning, like you have to summon them, but unless you've died to the boss, the summon doesn't appear. So you would have to know ahead of time that quest is there, go in, die, and then summon to do the quest. Otherwise, you could effectively screw yourself out of, like, you could be too good and screw yourself out of quest lines.
Yeah, that's been a point of contention for a little bit, but what won out kind of more is we want people to at least try the boss without any, for lack of a better term, crutches.
No, yeah, and I think that's fair.
Yeah,
but for those two, because I had two quests in particular.
Yep. Yeah, there's
that
two.
And both those quests I missed because one, I killed the boss without killing it where I should kill it, and therefore couldn't summon Mr. Man, and the other one I didn't even just wasn't dying, so I never saw the summon signs. Which also is there? So I'm trying to remember, when you summon, does it show you the names of the summons, or do I just have to make out?
So you have like the moth outline of the person, and when you click it, it'll say, "Would you like to summon this name, this person? Yes or no?" And as soon as you say yes, you go into the animation. You can roll out of it if it annoys you. Like a lot of us were like, "I don't want to be stuck in this animation. Can I roll out of it?" Yep, sure, okay.
Can you summon multiple, or is it just one?
Just one.
Okay.
So thank you for making that roll council. By the way.
Say again.
So I said thank you for making that roll cancelable, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
I love that.
I mean, a lot of us are like that, especially with, I remember, I think it might have been you, Coop, it might have been somebody else, but I was watching and just, please let us scroll through this text faster. Like the next day, I see in the chat, like, I made the fix to make this that you could skip text faster. Like the very next day.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's I actually maybe a little bit forward, because we are getting short on the time. Guys, overall, make long story short, if you would give kind of similarly to what Cowboy did so far, if you would give the how that's called final rating for the game for you so far, how it feels like for you, like on the scale from 1 to 10, let's say, what it would be so far according to your experience? Maybe starting with Coop this time.
Sure. So I have a weird rating scale that throws people off a lot. So I only give like 10s out of 10s are 9s that are like game changing. So I give like Dark Souls 1 a 10 out of 10, even though there's lots of games that I really enjoy. I'm not going to go through. Why am I talking about this? Why am I going through my whole rating system? No one cares.
I mean, this
is why I went to a 4 out of 5 system, though, because I feel like it's a lot of people are like, nothing can be a 10 out of 10 because a 10's perfect. But if that's the point, then what's the point of a 10-point scale? So now I only do 5-point scales, because if it's like something that's phenomenal and I loved it, 5 out of 5. If it's something that's still really good but it could use improvement, 4 out of 5. If it's something that needed some work but it was playable, 3 out of 5.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping to achieve in, like, for me, like 6, 7, 8s, and 9s are like all various degrees of good game. You should buy it and play it.
It's better than the average. And then, so of course.
And then 10, because there is no such thing as a perfect game. For me, a 10 is just a 9 that has like changed everything. You know what I mean? Like Dark Souls 1, it's like
It
now
was very
third-person action
influential
games
for the
are
industry.
changed forever.
Yeah. Okay.
Breath
This
of the
is like-
Wild changed open world forever, right? Like that. Those are 10.
Embrace the 5-point scale.
Yeah, I'll test it out. I'll test it out. But yeah, for me, it's sitting at like a 6.5 for me currently. The reason that I would put it at that level is that I feel I really like the core PvE experience. I again, this is like a tentative rating. I haven't completed the games, just for the audience. I would really love to see, we're going to get into this, but I would love to see improvements to the PvP and co-op systems. I think the seamless co-op is a huge feature that has attracted a lot of attention. And so seeing some improvements to the way that the online is handled is definitely a big one for me. But the actual core gameplay itself is like really awesome. I would put it up there with any other Souls-like. Like Lies of P has come out recently. I would easily put the PvE on the same level. And yeah, there you go. That's my take.
All right. Oro, from your rather short experience with the game, what do you think so far?
So far, it's shaping up to be one of the best Souls likes ever. I would put it like 8 out of 10 so far. But I'm a super picky scorer with stuff, you know.
But gave the highest score out of all. Hell yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
8 out of 10 is a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yes.
So I really enjoy the game. I love a lot of the customization aspects, like the ability to change like your color. That's huge.
Thanks.
Yeah,
you know,
This is such
Like
a good thing.
player expression through customization is like my favorite thing. All the builds you can do. PvP co-op, I'm so excited to dive into that stuff. So for me, this is as good as a Souls launch because it gives me so much to dive into. I'm very excited to play more.
On the note of builds, how about a couple more of them respec things in the game? That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that one.
Small influence.
Farmable respecs, please.
There is. I have to remember. We've gone through so many loot changes in the last week.
From what I can find, at least hitting endgame and exploring most secrets, I found 3 respecs total and 3 chunks total.
Oof.
Yeah.
I know I know for a fact there's at least 4 chunks.
Like, honestly, I would just add them to the merchant, make them cost like 10,000. There you go.
Well,
you want another plus 10? Farm it up.
I know that if you look at the social shrines, both of those items that you are saying in particular are on the social shrines.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
isn't that
there is-
based on the community.
The
Which
Covenant shrines.
quickly,
Yeah, but the
quickly
community needs to level up those shrines first before you can access them.
Yeah, it's community effort. So maybe like quickly explaining what are social shrines. Every single covenant in the game has its own shrine that you level up collectively as entire community. And Tyler, are those the cross-platform things, or like they are only related to only one platform? Like, can I benefit out?
Yeah, it's the entire community as a whole. So as
Cool.
you do activities, you get the eyeballs, hands. Everyone internally, we have like they're just called coins basically. And you donate them, and when you donate a certain amount, the next tier is unlocked, and the next tier has more tints, the biggest shards for your weapons, things like that.
What about,
and then the third tier has armors and stuff.
The buff. So when I was testing the Crimson Finger, I noticed there was no change in reward. What is that? How much is that supposed to buff the reward?
3 times. That is literally fixed today.
Okay.
So that might even be more. 'Cause so base right now,
Yeah.
when I was doing an invasion, I was getting 9 hands per invasion. Even if we 3 times that at 27, to buy those fingers at that shrine costs 50.
That was also fixed today.
Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, I can't afford it. I'm going broke trying to.
So no, here I can tell you what it's being rebalanced as is you still get 9 because all of the amounts that you're getting for whatever activity you're doing. So the way you get them, by the way, is PvP. You kill somebody, you get 9. If you play co-op with a friend and you kill a boss or mini boss, I think it's 15. But it's a different color. These are all different shrines,
Yeah,
by
it's
the
for
way.
different shrines.
And then Yeah, and then if you do revenges, which are the red lanterns that are around, which
That's
is
basically
somebody
PvE
died to an enemy.
Covenant.
Yeah, exactly. So you kill the enemy, and I think you get 3. And these are all based on times, like how long we expect you to take to do this activity. So the price of I think it's a charred finger, right? Yeah. Charred finger. Yeah. So it's supposed to give you 3 times, and the price got lowered to 10. So you're basically wagering like 1.1 runs to get 3, if that makes sense. So you're buying it for 10, and then you're essentially going to triple.
Well, you're gonna get double because you got to take the cost out of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically.
What about on the note of rewards? Do the rewards behind the covenants, do those count towards the achievements?
We are making sure that the armor that's on the farthest tier of the covenants is not a part of achievements.
What about
Because
boss armors? Because I know in a similar fashion, you gotta farm up those death trim.
Yeah, boss armors are included.
All right, so actually we beautifully interrupted the thinking process of Oros, so getting back to it, score is final, 8 out of 10 for you?
I mean, not final. I barely.
I mean,
played
like
the game,
final
for
right now, for the last 6 hours.
For right now, yeah, it's pretty great. I'm very excited to play more.
Okay. All right. So
I have some more PvP questions.
Oh, we're gonna get to it in the second.
Okay. I'll try not to jump ahead. I'm so excited.
All right. So Cowboy, it's 4 out of 5, basically 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. All right. And Tyler, is it 10 out of 10 or 12 out of 10?
Look, I'm very much the perfectionist mindset, and this entire time I've been watching, I got asked the other day by one of the producers, Saul's asked me a couple of times as well. So what do you think, what rating you think we're going to get? And I'm like, I know every tree in this forest, and all I'm doing is I'm watching you guys play and having fun. I'm like, something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. Like the whole time I'm watching a few people stream and it bug out. I'm over here on my computer just losing my mind when I see it. I'm just like, no! And it just takes me all the way back. I don't know if maybe I'm too old for this, but all the way back when they were demoing Modern Warfare 2 at E3 and the Xbox controller disconnects like live during their demo. And that's me freaking out. That's the level of freak out that I was having. I'm happy if a game that I work on gets like a 7, honestly. I dream of 8s, 9s, and 10s are like insane amounts of luck, in my opinion.
I can actually fulfill your wish because I myself give the game 7 out of 10, and it's only getting dragged down by multiplayer issues, which we are going to talk about now. So, Oro, you wanted to talk about PvP. Drop your questions.
Well, I think you can go ahead and talk about our main topic there. Is that you know a lot about the current state of PvP, and I'd actually really like to hear your thoughts on that.
Are you talking to Steel here, or?
Yeah.
So I am okay. The PvP overall. I need to explain one thing before we engaging further in the discussion about PvP. There is a huge issue that comes from the fact this game is, let's call it hosted. Like hosted is probably wrong. It's built upon like Unreal Engine 5, which is engine that I probably hate the most out of all the engines in the entire industry. And Unreal Engine prevents, apparently, developers from doing the online session in different way than one of the players being actual host, like host. So it is not the case like with Souls games, where you are a host technically, but only host of the world, whereas the packets that being sent to each other and so on, like some of them are done locally, in the meaning that like some of things are just not sent through the packets and some things are. So for example, like you are not sending all the information to the host. Like you are not sending information about, let's say, like the ragdoll of the guy that just you stumbled upon or something like that, yeah, or some
Right.
other like minor stuff. In Lords of the Fallen, your freaking HUD needs to be like every swap of the item on the quick bar needs to be confirmed by a host. It is absolutely fucked, but if you're going to engage in multiplayer session with your friend, or you're going to invade someone, you are going to have different lag on your quick bar depending on your ping to the host. So yeah, every single small interaction in the world, you rolling into the barrel, doing any sort of the other action, everything has to be confirmed by the host, which causes so that you pretty much have huge issues, especially in PvP, when, for example, the host is going to swing a weapon at you. On your screen, you are going to dodge. On your screen, you are in the iframes. But on the host screen, you are not. What is going to happen is you're going to get rubber banded back into the blade of the host. Because on his screen, he hits you. And everything is fine. Like, the decision of the host client is finite. It's the final. So this is basically this thing renders at the given moment PvP practically unplayable in the long run. It's gonna be fun at the beginning to mess around with the builds and so on, but upon like people gonna have like 50 hours on the game, like they just gonna progressively get more annoyed about this aspect that renders the game just annoying in the long run. Because yeah, it's basically this is currently at the given moment, even though what is important to say is that improvements are done, and I am very hopeful that maybe like within the first week after the release of the game, it's gonna get like way better, especially because we, even right now on the early access branch, we got the update that improved onto the issues with the multiplayer already. But at the given moment, when it comes to PvP, as mentioned earlier with scoring the game, I literally would prefer to not see multiplayer in this game yet, on the release, because I think it drags the entire experience down. That's my very harsh but true to what I believe opinion about the game so far, about the PvP, and it actually pains me because I and G9 got brought to this project, asked for the sake of to do exactly that, to help with the PvP, and the freaking technical state of it literally didn't allow us to commit as much time as we wanted and then focus on these things, because it doesn't matter what balance changes are going to be implemented to the game. It doesn't matter how well stuff is going to scale and so on, how fair is going to be matchmaking. All of these things going to fall short because of this one issue, which is rubber banding. And what is this is quite funny, but the host experience is perfect. Yeah, like there is the host experience. You're playing against PvP players like you would play against PvE. Like there is no delay at all because you are the host. So host has perfect experience, but both co-opers and invaders are fucked. So yeah,
that's what I was alluding to earlier with my questions of wanting to see where or why I rated things the way that I did was largely due to all those concerns that Seal just brought up.
Mhm.
What's frustrating too is I feel like the actual core experience is so much fun. Like the couple times that I've managed to have good connections with people, I've been like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Like this is so much fun, so interactive. Like, but I've had so many invasions that are just me trying to dodge roll away from someone spamming R1, and then I roll away and then instantly teleport back directly into being hit, just over and over and over, 100 to 0. Like that's happened probably 12, 15 times.
Oh my god. Oh, that's the amount I would quit the game at. Yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah, it's.
I know that
Mhm.
I know that internally it's there's a lot of testing going on. Like there was a huge message that got shot out to everybody across all of the channels that was like, we need to nail this down. We need to focus on it. This is, we're definitely aware of it. And it is something that we want to fix as soon as possible. It's not super easy to fix from what I'm told. I'm not a big netcode guy, by the way, so I have no clue how difficult it is to unravel it or to fix it. But it is on the top of the list right now, bar none.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to bring up was like, I think what would mean a lot to viewers, to listeners, to people who are invested in the PvP side of the community is like, just some level of like communication / like a quote, like I mentioned it in the chat earlier, like an idea of a roadmap of like what things are going to look like from launch day going forward. Obviously, I know or I have a decent idea of how things happen at studios, that it's not, it's not always like we're able to make these super firm, like, timelines. But I do think that having something like that to help people kind of expect like, oh, okay, things, this is something that matters to the company and this is like a pathway of them working on it. I think that would mean a lot to people. Because I do feel like there will be at least a certain demographic of people who will look at the PvP and then say, no, thank you. And I think having some sort of roadmap, or at least just like, and I'm not asking you right now to commit to that or something like that, but like, is there some sort of plan or some sort of like thing going forward, or is that something that you guys would entertain? Could you maybe speak to that just a little bit?
I think the track record of people in the company kind of speaks to that, where we want to be more open. We're very excited about what we have, and we don't want people to shy away from it for whatever reason. We're very much of the thought of, we don't want people to have a reason to not try. And like I said, because it's the top of the list, and communication is a huge thing for us. And I don't mean just, marketing communication and things like that. You can tell by the way a few of us talk that we're very down to earth. We're not bottling anything. You know what I mean? It's not like
for sure.
the generic stuff that you guys get from from other companies. But it's
or the complete radio silence we get from one certain company.
I almost
shots fired.
I almost think
I didn't say it.
I think Steel
I said it.
The right idea here, where like you could essentially launch with PvP disabled to focus on it and work on it, and then like a month or so after launch, after it's in a state that you're happy with, put something up as like a, I don't know, remnants of a deer event PvP is now added or something. Because right now, I mean, it's definitely like you can play it, but I'd agree. I mean, even in my experience of PvP right now, I'd say 75% of the time matches don't connect; they just fail. When they do connect, there's a lot of rubber banding. I had issues where I would try to swing and just get knocked out of my animation, assuming because of host advantage. So here I am in like almost full heavy armor with a two-handed hammer, getting stun locked out by a one-handed spear. And like that doesn't feel good. I think it is almost one of those cases where it might be better to just put it on ice, let it cook.
Put it back in the oven.
Yeah, let it cook longer. Let it figure out how to what we can do to fix the netcode. Because I mean, even then, PvP people will be like, well, there's no PvP yet. But I think PvP players would rather, they've added PvP. supposedly it's really improved, it's good now, and jump in versus jumping into broken PvP
Right.
and hope that it's fixed. And I guess a big, I kind of think of like back to like For Honor. Like I remember when I remember
Yeah.
talking to the devs about that game at launch, and I was like, so are you planning like dedicated servers? And they're like, oh no, we're using some new peer-to-peer technology. It's going to be super fast. And I'm like, no, you need dedicated servers. That's not going to work. And they're like, no, trust us. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. And sure enough, For Honor was like, a kid starting a race with their fucking shoes tied. It flopped straight on its face, and like it's still around. I'm surprised. But like now the game, what's sad is now that game is at a state where it's like the best it's ever been. It has dedicated servers, it has crossplay, it has all the stuff that people
complete
wanted.
rework of the mechanics of the game.
Yeah, but now it's like
too late.
Nobody really talks about it or knows about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because,
it's too little, too late, because it had such a disastrous launch that it just kind of got swept under the rug.
And that's why I was referring to the idea of some kind of communication-based roadmap where, like, I really think that saying, like, like here's like rough time frames of expectations. Like we know that this is a problem. We see that it's a problem. These are the things that we're planning to do, and these are the timelines that we're giving ourselves internally to deal with them. I feel like being able to communicate that just totally changes the discussion from like, oh, this isn't that great, and people just kind of moaning, to like, oh, well, like, look at this nice PNG I have of the roadmap where they're going to do this and this and this, right? Like, and because like I think you guys have already seriously demonstrated a capacity to like listen to the community in a way that basically no other Souls company has done, which I think will get you a lot of goodwill. Like just the fact I see this comment everywhere, that the fact that G and Steel were involved in the game at all, people are like very, very, very optimistic and positive about that.
Yeah, across our channels, it is. It's very surprising to our viewers. This is first of all because ING usually are very open about criticism of the, for once, Elden Ring, and it's not like we do not love Elden Ring. We both of us absolutely adore the game, but we both believe that it is important to voice the opinion in the public for the sake of to wish for the improvement, especially when the company doesn't have direct a way of communicating with the content creators like it is with the From Software. Here, in case of Hexworks, it is a little bit different case because pretty much anyone can just go on Twitter and send a message to Sol and tell him, hey, this thing in the game is broken. And the way how Hexworks operates, it's like they are very open to this type of feedback, which means they are going to consider it. Whereas in case of From Software, it's most likely not even going to reach them. So this is the main difference, and it gives me a lot of hopes because it seems like we are finally going to have at least one studio that doing Souls-like that you have direct way of communicating with, and because of that, by sheer effort of both developers and community feedback, maybe we are going to end up with actually very well cooked game after like 6 months. I think you guys predict like to support the game for the next 6 months to the year, something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. I'm not sure what the future is. Like I'm still kind of stuck in launch mode, honestly. But I mean, going back to what your question was, Coop, I would not put it beyond anybody in the company for us to not do some kind of communication and not make you guys feel like you're just casting comments at a cloud and then just hoping it floats, because I'm with you on that, where I've dealt with companies that are like that and it just doesn't feel good, and I don't see that from this company at all, honestly. I see them being much more transparent about everything about what's going on, so it wouldn't surprise me if there already was some kind of plans for a roadmap, or maybe even something bigger. I don't know. Maybe there's like weekly videos or something like that. I don't know. Directs. Yeah. The sky's the limit, honestly. they come up with some crazy things that I'm not really beholden to from my side of the equation. But I think that like a roadmap would definitely be on the table.
Nice.
That's cool. That's cool to hear, because yeah, like the open communication might be the key here as well, because yet again, it really depends. I assume that on the launch, the invasions are going to be there. What?
Yes.
So yeah, it's like this is already confirmed. So there is sadly no way. This is so baffling, by the way. Every single of us here is a freaking red bad man crackhead that actually loves to invade other people and do PvP. And we are fucking asking about the delay of the PvP, dude. Like, this is actually ridiculous, but yeah, it is actually the case. Yeah, that being said,
I do think
mhm.
I was gonna say I do think that launch PvP does dictate a lot of the attitudes, because there is I think a good like decent amount of people who form an initial opinion and then just like aren't keen on reevaluating their opinions.
Unless, I mean, at least in the past for me, the only time I've ever reevaluated a game is if somebody like a friend or somebody I trust comes to me and says, no, seriously, it's a lot better. You should try it. That's the only time I've ever reevaluated a game. So
maybe it's gonna be like that with
that's tough
Lords,
with PvP.
Yeah. So yes, it will be there on launch. My big thing is I trust people that are above me who have a bigger picture view of things to make the appropriate decision, in at least in like this regard. I mean, there's, like you said, you've kind of had some experience at least with gaming companies, and it happens all the time. Well, I disagree with this. Well, I disagree with that, and I think we should go this way. Well, I think we should go this way.
Mhm.
And eventually somebody tie breaks it, and someone's either going to be right, someone's going to be right, someone's going to be wrong. And you kind of go with the ship the way it goes, you know?
Yeah. I am curious because all these issues are also carried across in co-op as well, right? There's a decent amount of rubber banding for the co-op, partner as well,
so
right?
there is, but co-op has a different core issue, I think. So co-op is a lot of fun, and I think it's a double-edged sword. Because on one hand, it's like true seamless co-op. Like when the host teleports, you're going with the host. After the boss, you're not just leaving; you're continuing your adventure with them, which is something that people in the Souls community have wanted forever. You know, like look how successful the seamless co-op Elden Ring mod was. But the problem is that, you know, typically you jump into someone's world, you help them with the boss, you get your souls, you leave. That's it. Short, sweet. You get your minimal reward, and that's it. But now that there's seamless co-op, it brings up the question of seamless progression. Because right now, like, let's say if me and Oro wanted to start a playthrough together, we could get all the way through the Pilgrim's Perch, have an absolute blast. I'm going to get, some vigor to level up out of it, sure. But then when we're done, it's like, okay, now come to my world, and we're going to do that all again, so I can also continue along with you. And so otherwise, from a seamless co-op perspective, eventually you're not going to keep up, because you're not going to, you're not going to have the weapon upgrades you need. You're not going to have the progressive type upgrades you need. And I think unfortunately it's a symptom of the change.
Yeah, it's definitely viewed as a side effect. And it's kind of we didn't foresee this fully. Like, it wasn't an unknown, it was a known unknown. Like, we weren't sure how bad it would be. Because most people's probably response to this is going to be, okay, I have this character that I play with you in your world, and I have this character where you come to my world and we play. Like, you would have basically 2 concurrent playthroughs going if you wanted to. That's one way you can pseudo overcome. You're still not overcoming it. Like, I'm not making excuses for it. But that is one way you can go about it, at least. But, again, you're still playing the same content over again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could play different builds or things like that.
Okay, sorry, Oro, come on.
I think that's like a major problem, is that, the whole big appeal is like seamless co-op, like play through the whole game with your friend, but in reality, you have to break apart, the seamless constantly to get stuff. It sort of defeats the purpose of having seamless co-op, which is a massive bummer.
It's how you could potentially fix that issue though, like giving the let's say the key items to the co-oper or something.
Yeah,
so
it would be that easy, right?
There's a lot of fallout from this. There's like, you'd have to give key items to the co-oper for sure. You'd have to allow anchor progression,
vestige
That's
acquisition,
the big one. Yeah, anchor positions have to be
shortcut unlocking, all that stuff.
And then once you start doing anchor positions have to be unlocked, then it's like, okay, now we're getting into, now we need you to actually progress your quest lines in accordance with what your friend is doing. So if I'm playing with my friend and he does something that causes one of the quest lines to cause one of the characters to die, now my quest line is screwed. Right. So you see, like, this is a very delicate snowball that has a very big potential to just collapse on itself very easily. So it's something that seems very easy at the surface, but it definitely goes out of control with how many things it could touch.
Yeah. I actually like for me, I actually don't mind the having to replay it twice, quote unquote. Just because there's farming boss gear, I feel like is going to be a real thing. So being able to fight bosses twice and to get twice as much gear with your homie, to me that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get shrimp on every boss kill?
Yes, I think you get 8 shrimp.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it is
I have to think because we reversed it recently, so I always have to double think this.
You have 8 shrimps for every boss, at least on the version that I was playing on the last time. And for killing the red bitch in the Umbral, which is official name for the guy.
25?
I think, you are getting 25, and this is essentially the most efficient way of getting so-called Umbral shrimps, which for the viewers, Umbral shrimps are the currency that you can buy the boss weapons for.
Yeah, and I think I can say it now since you and, God, who was the other guy who did it? The killing the lamp hunter.
Elias.
Yeah, thank you.
And Sol.
He also gives you 25, I believe.
Yes. So
is
not that you have to do that, but he.
Well, no, I think you would for your platinum though. I think just in
you
terms
have
of
to
cost efficiency, because like right now, shrimp wise, I was doing the math earlier because I usually do like the whole 100% walkthrough thing, and earning the shrimp to buy all the boss stuff would take just an immense amount of time. Like I'm gonna boot it up. I want to get the math, because I think on a typical playthrough, I think just killing bosses and whatnot, you probably earn close to 200 shrimp, probably around there.
I'm opening my sheets now. The
mathematicians collide, for fuck's sake. It's one of these
so the
moments.
Amount of there's actually a count of like how many you can get. I know it's not enough for everything from every boss.
I don't think it's enough for even half the stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, you might come close. I'd have to check the total prices. Like, I know how much shrimp you get through the whole game. Like, that's if you get literally everything.
So
from the vendors.
If you get literally every shrimp, what does that come out to?
You get 285.
285. So assume a little bit of missing. I would say average player is probably going to be 220.
No, you can go less than that. Most people will skip. Like, most time I find that 60% or 70% is the right number, so about 170.
So well, we can keep talking. I'm gonna do some shrimp. I'm doing some shrimp edition right now.
All right.
All emoji shrimp emoji.
Tyler. Well, go on.
No, go ahead, Oro. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was gonna say, Tyler, while you have your math sheet open, can you tell us about the matchmaking in PvP? I am still curious about it.
I can only speak from what I've heard from like pure conjecture. Like I don't have
Okay.
so what I've heard, the way it works is it grows in terms of when it's trying to find somebody for you that's a lower ping or closer to you. So it's always trying to find somebody who's closer to you. So that 75% where you're having bad experiences is probably going to get dramatically lower on game launch, just
I
because there's
see.
just by virtue of
Way more
playing.
people. Yeah.
But still, we still want to make it better always, and especially better than it is now.
Right.
So that's
Oh,
not a reason for us to say, "Oh, look, it's fit." No, it's not. We're still working on it.
Okay, what about the do you guys have level based matchmaking, or is it just, does it just scale?
No. So the way it works, and I actually remember I was watching you the other day, Coop, and you guys are asking these questions. I was like, oh, I know the answer to these questions, but I'm not going to say anything.
Tell me.
So the way it works is you can PvP against anybody of any level. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care what the level is, because what it's trying to do is there's a curve that's assigned to both of you, and you're both basically trying to get evened out to the same area. So essentially the area is,
cool.
I think it's 12 or 13 hits to kill somebody, like on average, by the way. So if you have a bigger weapon, it could be like 9. If you have a smaller weapon like daggers, it could be like 18 or 20 or something like that.
Are we talking PvP?
You have it like narrowed
talking
down to
PvP.
that.
Bro, I
Yeah,
have
so-
not had anyone survive more than 3 hits from me.
if you're using a really big weapon, that can happen, yes. And also, if it's a big, there's also the thing where it's always trying to even you out up to a limit. If you are super high level,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm
felt-
75 strength plus 10 weapons, so.
okay. So if you're super high level, so basically we have basically a power level system in the background that's running. So it's taking your current level plus your highest weapon level, that not equipped, just that you have, period.
Right.
So what'll happen is there's a limit to that power level. So eventually you're going to start gaining benefits anyway, because you're just by virtue of a higher level, because sorry to say, you put more time into the game, you deserve some sort of an edge,
So what you're saying, I get to bully people on launch, is what you're saying.
You are expected. You are
Oh,
expected
baby.
to bully people
I'm
on the
so
launch.
motivated. We're hitting level cap tonight, baby. Let's go.
Hey, wait, I haven't, no, stop.
So real fast, I'm
Invade
assuming,
Oro.
does the I haven't fought the hidden boss yet. Do they also get a remembrance?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know their count. I'm just gonna add 25,
It's
which I think is
it's the same count. It's 8.
no, I mean like 25 to buy their stuff, which is probably low.
Oh crap.
That's really
Yeah,
depends on the boss.
Without counting that boss's purchase, we're at 775 umbral shrimp to buy all the boss stuff.
Oh my god.
Guess I'm gonna double check
Medium
everything.
plus, man. Come on.
But honestly, it sounds like a lot, but at the same time, you are getting 25 streams per one red guy in the umbral.
Yeah, but sorry.
Yeah.
So let's say the average person. So we'll round it up. We'll go 800 to count for that final boss. Which can you even fight both? Can you fight both final bosses in a single playthrough? You'd have to go New Game Plus, right?
Correct. Because there is a different. Yeah, there's basically two bosses.
The
where
third ending boss,
They
and then
dictate what ending you get. Yeah.
So 800. Let's just say you get 200 in a run. Let's say you get another 200 in your next run. Still, that's assuming 200. Assuming you're pulling in 200 shrimps per run, you would still need to kill the Scarlet Reaper 16 times to even have enough shrimp to afford the boss stuff. I guess my big concern is, I think, and obviously I'm looking at the perspective of a walkthrough guy. I make guides indicated for platinum for players.
Mhm.
Just from a collection standpoint, I think this is going to be one of I don't think people are going to platinum this game. I don't think a lot of people are at all. Simply because the collection rewards are so farm centric that we're looking at. I mean, and this isn't even. I mean, obviously, you said that the Covenant armors don't count. Thank God, because we did the math for that. It would have been like 84 successful evasions for like just the chess piece.
I mean, at least that's also been fixed as well.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like that's.
I saw that and I was like, oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was like, I ain't ever getting this fucking armor.
Yeah.
But I mean, God, even then, man, I think I don't know. I feel like you could effectively double the current shrimp counts.
Well, there's other outlets we can take as well. It's the way that it was is we weren't thinking about people that are like achievement hunting. We were thinking about people who are just buying what they want, and it seemed like they were always left over with tons. So that means that what I'm hearing you say, my designer brain is spinning, and it's saying we don't need to give more shrimp. We need to give another outlet for you to get shrimp.
Yes, totally.
And thankfully, we have a couple that are lacking and need some little extra things with them. So that is a good point.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, I would. Well, plus you need what? What's for the offering? Trying to be vague here again. I think is that was it 50 or 40?
Might be 50. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've triggered that.
So that's like that's 2 more Red Reaper kills you're gonna need just to farm up all your shrimp. Yeah, it's just because I'm thinking about it. I mean, as like a strength build, the only thing I think I even bought from the bosses was like one of the great shields that unlocked at the end, just because everything in there was like split scaling, and I'd already found better weapons anyway.
That's great shield in the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does come with what 40 weight. Yeah. It would need a certain magical item.
It should be the best one in the game. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, from a collecting standpoint, which I do think a lot of people are collection happy with these games right now, it's almost exclusionary because.
Yes.
I mean, I know even from my standpoint, like I still plan on doing a walkthrough for this game, but I'm telling people up front, like this is not going to be a platinum walkthrough. You're going to have to. I'm going to show you what you need to do, and then you're going to go off and farm on your own for 20 hours to obtain what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the numbers for parry frames? What has the highest? What are the lowest? And what are they?
The highest in the game, I can answer this. The highest in the game is dual wield daggers, which I believe Saul mentioned ended up getting tuned back because of how busted it was. But it's similar to Souls, where your lighter stuff, like your light shields, have better parry frames than your heavy stuff, like your great shields.
It's not really similar to the Souls at all. It's like a 5, 4, and 3 on 30 FPS. Those are basically you have like 3 stages of the parry frames. It's like a.
I thought it was 3, 4, 6. Maybe it is 3, 4, 5. I don't remember.
I'm getting that information directly from you, by the way, Tyler.
I don't, dude. People said like, "Oh, have we done something?" Yeah, we did that like months ago, dude. That was last week. Oh, okay. Like,
okay.
So basically, the general idea is smaller item equals easier parry. That's the easiest way to look at it.
Parry frames is 5 at 30 or 10 at 60. Is that correct?
I need to double check.
I mean, I know even testing it, like, because I started carrying around a small shield with my Ungo Mogo club, and there was even trying to just parry with that versus the club, there was a definitive difference. It was much easier using a small shield to get my parries.
I mean, the difference of these like two frames is actually huge in Souls games
monumental.
Too. Yeah, it's the thing what makes overall parrying a little bit easier in this game is just the fact that there is no startup. Because, in the Souls games, on the parrying, you have startup firstly. And in this game, there is no startup, basically.
Yeah, it's like a Sekiro parry.
Yes, it is essentially a deflect, yeah. So
I think that's why I feel like parrying is going to be like a huge part of the PvP meta right now, like latency plus no startup.
What's weird? So PvP, parries in PvP is a little bit weird, because when you hit it, it automatically sends them recoiling, but it's usually... From what I've seen, at least, I'll get parries, but I'm unable to actually get a follow-up swing on that recoil.
Yep, you just interrupt their attacks until you get your full like
your full knockdown. Yeah.
So I have a note on exactly that actually.
Yeah.
I found it weird that in PvP you can't see how close you are to getting staggered, from parries, right? You can't see your own stagger gauge, so you don't know when to back off or like start to play a little more passive.
You're supposed to just know this as a Souls veteran in your bones.
True. You're supposed to feel it.
Ooh. Shots fired.
But no. Then I thought about it a little more, and I was like, oh god, if someone gets parried one time and they see their bar filling up, they're never going to swing again. It's going to promote really passive play, and PvP is going to be actually quite boring. So it's like maybe it's good that it doesn't show your own stagger gauge, you know?
On the note of people being passive in PvP, is it intended that I'm supposed to be able to yeet someone out of existence with Soul Rip? Because I've done it a few times.
Yeah,
It's
I'm worried
funny
about
as
that
fuck,
a lot.
but it does.
Oh, you
seem
mean
kinda
you mean
broken.
pull them around?
Well, not just pull them around. I've yanked them off cliffs and then been like, "Bye, fuckface," and then they're gone.
Yep, a little rude, but
I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny, and like obviously there's a long animation to it. So as
I'm
somebody, they were
worried-
just stutter stepping around, and I was like, "All right, bye." Like
I'm worried about 2 players camping on near a cliff and doing exactly that to an invader. Like, what do you do against that? Maybe shoot him with a
I-
crossbow?
Dodge.
Yeah, you'd shoot him with the range
Standing at
probably.
range, yeah.
Ranged, yeah.
Just
Okay, so
dodge.
that's fair, but it's just terrifying. That's a terrifying thought for me.
Prospect.
Which
So
on,
your
on
mana-
the-
your
on the
mana
note
gauge
of
comes back-
range,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say y'all might want to look into buffing. I don't know what regular bows do, but I know like crossbows at least. So I used the strength scaling crossbow at I think it was +8 for most of my playthrough, and it does
Mhm.
solid. And then at one point I dropped it off and just started using the upgraded hammer, and that upgraded hammer was. I mean, honestly, all the regular throwing weapons, they were outclassing my crossbow, which felt disappointing because with the crossbow, you're taking on additional weight, and I'm paying
Mhm.
similar ammo costs, and I was getting more without it, which was even more busted because I could use stuff like Accusing Spirit. So I was able to Accusing Spirit and then start chucking hammers, and I was hitting for I think like 1,300 per hammer throw.
Yep. That hammer, you're talking about the lump hammer, right?
Yeah, good old
Yeah,
Lumpy.
that one
Lumpy.
that one's definitely on the radar because I believe it might have been changed. Feel free to try it. I believe it can confirm staggers.
Okay.
So it
I
doesn't.
think.
Honestly, I think because the thing, and this is more personal opinion, but you have so between the lump hammer and the hatchet, like I just started using the lump hammers exclusively because they had the damage. I think maybe to offset that, tone down the hammer's damage, but increase its stagger potential. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you're chucking a hatchet at somebody versus a hammer, like the hammer's going to hurt, the hatchet's going to cause a lot of bleeding, but that hammer is definitely going to stun them more. So I think that would
Yeah,
be the thing. Make that be the go-to, because I would like that. That gives me a clear utility. Like if I can one-shot dogs with it, great. But what I'd want to do is like get a parry or two and then chuck in the hammer to confirm, and then go in and follow up with the hit. Whereas if I'm doing damage, go to the hatchet. Or
Yeah,
the
it's a good
javelin or whatever
point
else.
because we wanted to try to angle throwables as more towards like a utility aspect anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would fit a lot better with it. I did notice that yeah, some throwables deal quite a bit of damage, and usually you can tell exactly which ones they are. And typically they are ones that were not used widely internally. So yeah, good.
All right. As Oro, you had like that one idea in regards of the stagger too. It's that is kind of taken from Armored Core 6, yeah. The stagger regeneration.
To see the stagger gauge, to see like, oh god, I'm about to get staggered,
I know we experimented with it where like maybe your health bar would kind of like be like cracking on the UI or it would flash or something. Like we tried stuff, but it ended up being kind of annoying, honestly.
Okay.
And it was very distracting from the experience, and it became a point where we didn't know where to put it. Everyone said, "Oh, put it in the middle of the screen." Well, that's where all the status effect stuff is. And put it here. Well, we can't put it there because that's here. And so the screen's already a lot more full than people realize, so it's a lot more difficult to
I mean, dude, talking about distracting, y'all should just remove the kill confirm sound.
The kill confirm
that is
sound?
that has gone through so many iterations.
Honestly, I would just drop it, because the weapons, like that's probably the number one complaint I've seen from people, just YouTube comment wise, is people are just like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with the sound? What's wrong with the sound? And it's not I don't think it's the sound itself. I think what a lot of people aren't noticing is the
sound.
kill confirm. Yeah, because I sent in the server earlier, I sent a clip. I was using a grand sword and swung through like 5 guys at once, and it's like shing 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 shing. It sounds like it's like a casino going off.
Casino
Whereas-
moment.
Yeah, it might be. A good
I mean,
thing.
you're
It might be good
scoring
as like an
different-
option. It'd be good as
Yeah.
like an option, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
an
I can turn it
accessibility
off,
option or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Kill confirm sound or something. Because without it, I would just hear the sweet whoosh of my hammer, smashing through people, or the sound of the sword itself, which I think that sounds great, but it's just overshadowed because you have ching ching chings going off with every switch.
Yeah. I think a lot of us internally are probably a little numb to it at this point because we play, I mean, literally all the way up to Boglord for me is just like autopilot. Like I don't really think about it much unless I'm looking for something in particular.
I didn't even notice it that much. It like you said, I became muted to it until I started doing my review, and then I was like really listening to sounds and whatnot, and then started testing with it and was like, yeah, that's definitely distinct.
Yeah, I was seeing that on the stream, and people are saying, oh, the sounds are still bad. What do you think about the sounds? And I'm kind of like, but the sounds are better. Are they just saying the things from before?
I think it's
and I think you're right. You might be right. Honestly, I'm kind of now. I'm not gonna be able to unhear it. Now I'm gonna play it tonight, and I'll be like, no, I can't unhear it.
Yeah, use a grand weapon. Go to like the sanctuary and just walk outside and slap like 5 things at once, and you're gonna be like, yep, that's gotta go. That's too much shing.
Too much ching. But yeah, it's so like getting back quickly to the topic of the stagger bar. Stagger bar, basically, my point wasn't really about to make it more visible through some sort of the UI changes or anything like that. Thing about the stagger bar currently in the PvP is that once you are going to get parried, let's say, like deflected, like once or twice, you're aware basically you are out of the stagger bar, like completely, which means that you cannot really do an aggressive action anymore because you are going to end up simply parried, or even if you're gonna get close to your opponent, you can get kicked and you are going to get put in that repost ready animation. You're going to lose a lot of the HP. What Oro in the private chat with me suggested that maybe it would be cool if your stagger bar would simply regenerate quickly, because right now it regenerates very, very slowly. It is for the sake of to regenerate your stagger bar from almost 0 to full, you probably would need to stand still for like a minute or so, maybe even more. And the way how, for example, energy regeneration happens currently in the newest Armored Core 6, which is, I assume, the main idea that the main how that's called. Well, this is basically where Oro took that idea from. Yeah. So maybe that would be the play to just makes it so that this stagger bar just regenerates fast. That would eliminate the passive play. Yeah, that's.
I would say not fast, not fast.
The way it works in Armored Core in particular is you have stagger that we'll just call it short stagger and then long stagger. Your short stagger starts dropping off as soon as a second and a half. And then your long stagger takes, I believe it was 4.5 seconds. And at that point, it'll begin to slowly drain all the way out. But so I think even just implementing that short stagger, where if you have not been parried or kicked or blocking, if there's no actions being taken against you for like 5 seconds, your meter slowly starts filling back up, because that's going to promote aggressive play. Even if somebody's not swinging to get parries, as an aggressor, you could run up and try and constantly kick them. And so they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to fight back to avoid that stagger.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of funny that you said 5 seconds, because that's what it is right now.
5 seconds before it begins regenerating?
Before it begins regenerating. It just might be that the regeneration speed is too slow, and that's probably just the result of us tweaking how much stagger health like things have, and then us adjusting, but not going through all of the fallout steps of, okay, this went higher, so this has to go higher. Okay, this one lower.
Yeah, I'd say, like, honestly, in the thing is, 5 seconds is already like a really long time
it's an
in Souls combat.
Yeah.
And so, like, at 15 seconds, you should probably be back to full stagger already. Because if somebody's gonna back off, I mean, God, imagine you're dueling somebody and they're just going to back off and give you space for 15 seconds. That's insane.
So I would have to check if the values that I'm seeing in the sheet are accurate. Like I'm opening right now just to double check. But what I'm seeing here is there's a delay of 5 seconds. So this is like nothing has happened to you to reduce your stagger. No one's thrown anything at you. You haven't blocked anything. Nothing has happened. Like you've dodged everything for 5 seconds. If that occurs, then you would get your entire bar back if the sheet is correct in 14 seconds. Now, what I'm hearing is that's not correct. So I'm curious now.
I mean, I haven't tested that to know if it's correct, but even then, 14
That's 20
after
seconds.
Yeah. After
Nearly.
after already passing the 5 of dodging, I think it should definitely be filled up faster.
Like what is definitely a case is the overall deflex system in PvE is great, but not so much in the PvP. And we actually ING had huge problem delivering feedback for the PvP balance in that particular case, because we didn't know what to tell to developers, because preferably we would say just completely nerf the deflex in the PvP, or even almost entirely remove that system, because it is it has very bad influence. But on the second side, it is very base core mechanic of the game itself, so you cannot freaking do that. It's it doesn't feel good to remove entire mechanics from the PvP and so on, just like that. So
what happens on the note of just how easy it is to parry? I haven't tested this, but can you parry a fully charged R2 in PvP?
You can parry everything.
Mm-hmm.
That should probably be changed.
Yeah,
a two-handed R2 hammer wind up, like.
Yeah, there might be some weapons where you can't. I don't remember particularly. I'd have to look. But I do remember in the original spec that hammers were, if you are two-handing a hammer, there is no parrying, just run, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely an issue, because the slower weapons are gonna just get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah. If I'm charging up a two-handed Wayfarer's hit and your dude just parries it with a dagger, I'm gonna be like, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. Would have broke this man's wrists, broke his daggers, broken his lineage.
How I was avoiding it how I was avoiding getting parried in the PvP with the big weapons. I was whiffing purposely the first hit and following up with the second, just to But this is insane amount of effort that you have to put in to make the big weapons work in the PvP in this game. That definitely shouldn't be the case, because it just renders the fast weapons meta, and that's it. Yeah, just we are basically back to the classic Souls games again. Yeah, we're just
everything. The only way I was able to win matches with using like the Wayfarer's Hammer or Grand Sword was, I think, because I had that lantern upgrade on, that infinite poise on the charge R2. Because I think a lot of people just aren't aware of that, and so they would see me charging and they would attack into it, and then I would let go and just bonk them for 800 damage.
Knowledge check, hell yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I know that is one of the things that I've seen people doing too, and I expected that. And that's like when we went to the whole thing of let's make our heavies as fast as lights. If you tap it, that was the first thing that popped in my head, which is, there's so many like mind games you can do with this. Actually,
that's actually so cool. I really want this PvP to be shaped into something like great, because I feel like it definitely has potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like us as all PvP guys are like, I'm sure we all feel the same.
Yeah, like the matches I've had good latency, good connections, I'm like, oh hell yeah. Like this is what I'm talking about.
I envy you so much, Coop, because when I was doing PvP,
connections for you.
When we it's not about that. The head of the studio is actually in Barcelona, so we have very good ping with each other. And during the playtests, before like the current patch was implemented and so on, the rubber banding was actually a full on 30 ping.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. So yeah, it's good thing the Hexworks is actually working on these issues, and they clearly get better. But dude, I I am hurt after these playtests. I legitimately have trauma. Like it's
That rubber banding is intense. Yeah.
yeah, it was very very bad. But yeah, I have huge hopes in regards of Lords of the Fallen that it's actually going to be a pretty good game, and maybe if this game sell, like I assume there is probably going to be a Lords of the Fallen 2, Lords of the Fallen 3,
that's gonna be so confusing.
Lords of the Fallen.
The Lords of the Fallen.
The Lords of the Fallen. Like
We're just gonna keep adding thes to it. Just the.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Lords of the Getting Up.
But yeah, like if this game is going to sell, then maybe actually I just would wish to have, like, in let's say 3 years, another Lords of the Fallen with absolutely greatly polished PvP at the release of it. And now
3 years. That's a short dev cycle there, Steve.
Isn't it how long it took, like the Lords of the Fallen, this one to actually be produced? 3 years?
It's about 4.
About 4. Okay, so like 4 years.
Like a normal dev cycle for most games is like 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. So like it doesn't matter like how long it's going to take. I don't care. What is very clear in case of this game is it's supposed to have more time in the oven with especially the multiplayer mechanics. But at least I hope that, within the patch cycle, we are going to end up in a situation that we have another Souls game that we can play PvP on from time to time and have fun with it.
Yeah.
This is ultimately what I wish for.
Really hope that you're able to share with the with your bosses how important some sort of communication about the future would be. Like, yeah, I really think that, like, especially for us, as like we form like a lot of advocates for games with PvP. Like, it would just really make a huge difference to be able to say, this is when that feature is going to get implemented, or this is when they're planning to actually implement that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people in-house that absolutely love PvP, like Saul included, for sure. We've already had those discussions of like, okay, what are we doing post-launch? Well, there's PvP and cosmetic stuff, and because most people want either PvP things or like Fashion Souls stuff for the most part. So those are definitely high up at the list just because of the number of people internally who want it.
And in one of the interviews before we even started like playtesting the game for you guys, I have seen mentions of the arena on the post launch as the potential possibility.
Where did you see this?
In some sort of article on one of the websites. I think that's
you're being very vague. I think you're fishing now.
Absolutely. Steel's the next level. Big brain individual.
Easiest bait.
Easiest bait in my life. Well, it actually works. Damn. But no, actually, if I remember that there was definitely information about half of the year to year of potential support for the game, and I actually don't exactly remember if there was like a mention of the arena. I'm not sure if that was coming from the journalist or maybe from Sol or maybe or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, there was definitely this topic brought up. So my question is that, so essentially you have an idea to keep on developing the game, yeah, but an idea for this type of content update, or there is no, either you cannot bring information like that, or just there is no current plans for this type of content, like some sort of PvP dedicated content like arenas, for example.
I remember hearing rumblings a while back, and remember, my sense of time is really screwed up right now. So a while back could have been last week. A while back could have been 6 months ago.
Okay, classic.
So I've heard rumblings of it. Whether anything is confirmed, I do not know.
Okay. So we
I
can
just know that
right.
these are the tendencies of the direction internally that I see from people saying like it'd be cool if da 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 da. and this is the direction people are going. This is what I see, but whether anything is concrete, I have no clue.
Okay.
Fair.
All right, so what we can do is wish for the best. But yeah, fundamentally what has to be done first and for the most is just to fix this shit-ass rubber bandings for the sake of so this game is playable in the PvP in the long run. Because without that, like, anything else just doesn't fucking matter at all, yeah?
That's not true.
Ah, that's not?
That's not true at all. How many colors are there?
Okay, alright. You have a point. A point. You're gonna be entering the world of other people as invader only to show off your fashion with your things. That's an idea.
Like, look how good I look.
Look how green I am. Do you see? Do you see that green color on this code, dude? Yeah.
I mean, it needs to be. Well, to be fair, like, yes, it needs to be fixed, but at the same time, I think we need to keep in mind the scope of PvP. Because I think it's important to remember how much of, like, you know, there's still a whole ass game here besides the PvP.
Oh, I know.
No, but
yeah.
by
we're
PvP,
very
by
much
extension,
the
I mean
minority.
co-op as well, yeah? So it's like the point is that, like, the game was promoted heavily with the idea of the multiplayer aspects in mind, yeah? And
was it?
Yeah. It's like
seamless co-op is what has a lot of people, at least in my community.
Yeah, and
the seamless co-op for sure, not the PvP.
Yeah, not the PvP, but I mean PvP because that's what is more important for me. But I mean overall multiplayer. Yeah, and yet again, it's issues that are in the PvP are also visible in the co-op. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about here.
A fair point. Like I said, the big thing I heard from you guys as a consensus is the core is good, which is more than I could ever ask for their, like, you know, the first game, or I don't know if you call it the first game, but the first game from the studio, from our group. Saying that the core is good is a massive compliment, because that means that going forward we have a solid foundation to stand on, at least.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Guys, we're gonna be slowly wrapping it up because it's almost 2 hours. So, anyone wants to touch on any particular topic yet? You want to bring something up?
Yes, I have one thing. I will tell you what it does, but has anybody figured out what bleed does yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You did. Okay. I just remember watching stream. It wasn't just you, Coop. It was other people.
Bleed is a status effect that grows over several hits. When filled, delivers an initial damage burst and applies additional damage on any subsequent hit, delivering physical damage until the bleed effect is gone.
Damn.
Who posted it?
Damn, he
I
actually
figured
wrote
that
it
myself.
up.
Saul definitely didn't give me a list of all the status
Definitely
effects
not.
in the game.
He just picked it up out of his mind, true.
Yeah, as soon as I was like watching you play, Coop, you're like, I can't figure out what bleed does. I'm like, that's it. I'm irritated, and I just like made like I sent that infograph to Saul again. I'm like, tell people this. Like, they don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, KK. So here's a thing. This is a real feedback piece. Give us the ability, please, to go hover over each like status and like stuff on the stat screen, please. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's no like back button to explain stats right now.
this is how
That's a
Elden
built
Ring
thing.
is doing that, and overall Souls games are doing that. Yeah,
Or
have
something.
possibility
Because
of it.
I saw even in the creator chat, people were like, how do I increase MP? I'm like, I only know that because I messed with stuff, but like you should be able to find that out, like without having to like.
Well, but I mean, there's a lot of
You know
little
what I mean?
things. Like ammunition is tied to dexterity. There's a certain amount of weight you can gain from leveling up your strength, but you can gain more from leveling up your health. And a lot of those things.
No, ammunition is
not tied to
vitality and
dexterity.
endurance.
Saul said ammunition's agility.
The
It's
fucking
definitely
head of the
vitality.
studio
It's
doesn't
definitely
know.
vitality and endurance. For sure, it's vitality and endurance.
Just trust the RPG guy on this one.
Because I'm looking at my character right now, and I'm removing and equipping my vitality rune and watching the bar go up and down. So it's definitely not dexterity.
Saul handing out misinformation.
Oh,
my
misinformation from the devs. Let's
Maybe
go.
It originally was. Maybe it originally was. Or maybe it originally was just endurance. I remember it did switch at one point.
Either way, a button where you hit the back, the menu, whatever you want to call that button on the controller, and let us just scroll over shit and see what it does.
This
That is
stat
a-
does this. This stat does
I,
this.
that
I
is-
am in full
Yeah.
agreement of that. I
Yeah.
tried. That's the first thing I tried to do, and I was like, "Oh, I can't read the stats." No.
Yeah, it's
And that
I.
sounds
It doesn't
like-
have to be. It doesn't have to be super in depth, but yeah, like just a super quick summary. This is what bleed is. This is what. Because also my problem is I don't even know the names of these things. Like there's bleed, yellow, red, less red,
There's
poison, and
you,
frost.
you have bleed and smite, and then under Rogar you have burn and ignite, and then Umbral has frostbite and poison. Which does frostbite? Does the aside from the damage burst, does the stamina effect of frostbite affect enemy mobs at all, or is that just a
No,
PvP thing?
so that's an interesting thing is because our enemies don't use stamina, they don't care. They just do their cooldowns and whatnot. So the way it works against enemies, so you get the burst of damage, obviously, but the way it works on enemies is it does a ton of I think it's posture damage on top of it.
Nice. I was gonna say that would make the most sense.
Yeah, whether it maybe we see. I keep trying to remember, and it's all kind of blurred together. It might limit their maximum posture, but I'm probably wrong about that. Maybe we tried it and removed it because it got a little weird. But yeah, it definitely does do a burst of posture damage. So
Sorry, just quick clarification for Cowboy here. Is there a place to find out the names of these things in the game,
No, this is just
or is
based
this
on
this
the.
is your external stuff? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Also,
just
yeah, this is
infographic.
what the devs gave me. To be fair, you can if you really want to like crawl through items, certain items will be like this grenade does smite damage, this grenade does ignite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I had a ring that was like when applying burn to an enemy, also fill up the ignite bar, and I'm like, okay, cool, double the fire,
Mhm.
let's go.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of weird subtle things in the game too. Like Smite can confirm stagger, but we don't tell you that. So there you go. You can have that one. Yeah. So there's a lot of subtleties where we're kind of figuring out where that line is drawn.
Yeah, was
on
there
what should we
someone?
openly state?
I had people trying to say this. This sounds like just idiots on the internet. But there was talk on like one of the first streams. People were like, "Oh, if you use umbral magic throughout the game, bad things happen to you." And I'm like, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
I hope that's true. That sounds hilarious.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds
Let's
weird.
just
like,
keep saying it though. Can we just keep saying
Yeah.
it?
Just keep
I mean,
spreading the lie.
yeah, we'll just keep saying it. Just like, oh, does bad things happen? I don't know. You'll have to find out.
Yeah. Also buy the DLC.
Okay. All right. Any other topics? Someone? Anything?
How many unlockable classes is there? 3? There's the
Four.
whole.
There's one for each ending.
Okay.
And
bad-
actually,
bad
one
guy
more.
ending
Actually,
is-
there is 4. Because
Oh
Four?
yeah, there's that one too. Yeah, the Dark Crusader one. Yes.
yeah, there is that one. Too.
Well, how do you
what's with that tone?
How do you
No.
unlock Dark Crusader technically? Because they were like, oh, you'll just get it at the end of the game.
Nope. There is one of the characters has a quest line, and you have to complete the quest line.
You have to. Okay, which I got screwed out because I killed something without. I know who you're talking about, and
Yes. And you already did the thing, so you failed it. Yes.
I did the thing, so I failed it.
It's fine. There's one character who I've still
Bullshit.
never seen in the game because I literally wrote to the quest person. I'm like, where is this person? They're here. Okay, but they're not there. And I go there. They're not there. Oh,
some of the quests
did you go
are
past this point? Yeah. Okay, they're dead. I'm like,
some of the quests are fucking out there. Like
Yes, they
the quest line to get to the third ending, like Jesus fuck.
Very
very
Dark
it's pretty
Souls style.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the hardest ending. Yeah.
Yeah, her, and then let me. I was looking at my list here.
Oh, somebody hook me up with these because there's no way I'm figuring them out.
Hey, don't worry. I'm gonna have a
No
I'm gonna
way.
have a walkthrough series that you can watch, and you'll figure it all out. Just pay attention.
Oh, all right, that's youtube.com/
Like, you can't wait, baby. The other, what was the other quest that I was looking at? That was
That's fighting with
insane?
IN instead of ING, by the way.
Exactly. Fucking what's her name's quest?
Don't say her name. We still got Oro in here. Don't say
Yeah,
her
I'm
name.
still here. I don't know where.
I mean, well, it's an NPC
you're-
at the start of the game, but the tortured prisoner.
Okay. Yes.
Her
Yeah,
quest line?
Oh my god, it's fucking all over the place.
It is.
I think I might have started it. I don't know.
I'm gonna give you.
I did a thing, and then things
You
happened,
would
and
know
then
if you started
now
it.
I'm
There's a
confused.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
give
very
you
particular.
the spoiler free version of this quest line.
Sick. Hit me.
Find ready. So first, you must find person from doing Umbral puzzle. After that, talk to person at new location. After that, talk to person at new location and give her items. Find certain set and talk to her wearing set. Find new item and go back and give it to her. Find another new item, go back and give it to her. Talk to her before certain encounter in the game. Use certain item in the game. Then go back and talk to her again and get thing.
Holy smokes, dude!
Yeah.
Sick.
That's only that's one end. Like really go back and talk to people often and really pay attention to the words that they're using.
No, like, yeah, honestly, like, it's every vestige. You best go talk to people to make sure you didn't fuck up. Like,
Mhm.
it's bad at times.
Oh, okay.
I think the
Well,
only
I
easy
think I might have
quest,
broke some stuff.
the merchant quest, his is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Storman's quest was pretty easy.
Mhm.
Let's see.
I think the Wayfarers
Blacksmith
isn't
quest
that
is
bad.
pretty easy. Yeah, Wayfarers. I mean, the finding him after events, that could be a little obscure.
Yeah, 'cause he's very dark. He's hard to see sometimes, honestly.
Dunmir's quest took me for a loop. He goes all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Drustin, I fucked up his quest. Damarose, I fucked up her quest, but that's ending related, so couldn't really avoid that. Fucking poor Byron. That quest, I felt
Yep.
bad.
Yep. That was the one I was alluding to. And I felt really bad when he said, "Well, I guess I'll just do this the rest of my life." I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah. I lost an NPC quest line because I didn't light a fire.
Okay.
What?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Andreas is pretty easy. And then the mercenary lady, I think that's one of the trickiest ones because you got to figure out the quest and then know what bosses they're tied to be able to do the bosses for that quest.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's the
somebody-
whole discussion we had with you have
Yeah.
to like lose to get them to appear, and yeah.
Somebody send me where the freaking PvP shrine is at because I have not found it.
Have you fought the Ruiner for the first time?
Hello. That's not something that we suppose, I
Thought
think.
the redacted
the
for the
Ruiner
first
is that name? What if I just call him Big Bad Guy? I don't believe obscure one word names are spoilers.
No.
Just-
My point is
Did you fight the
my
Elector
point is
yet?
location of the of the shrine. I don't think we're actually supposed to disclose it. Like it's not
Well,
at the
this is
beginning
coming
of the
up
game.
post
yeah?
post
This is
whatever.
post embargo, I'd assume.
That's
I-
pretty chill. I feel.
I mean, like, well, it's I don't care. It's up to you. But you wanted to have
Hey,
things spoiled for you.
I don't know what's in your things or not. I'm just chilling.
This is all coming out post embargo. Smile. If it isn't, then I disavow everyone who said.
I'll
things.
I'll go explore the zone where you first fought Ruiner. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that.
That's a good way to leave it.
Okay.
And make sure you're bad so you die during that fight so things happen.
Oh.
Re-explore the area where you. Oh man, I don't even remember what area that is. Hey, just tell me off stream. That's fine.
That's all right. I got you.
Yeah,
You know what is quite funny? Like this area is currently displayed on my screen as I am playing the trailers and gameplay videos.
I mean,
From
I
Lords of the
missed the area myself because I didn't.
It's really easy to miss.
Yeah, I blitzed through that encounter, and then I blitzed through the next area, and then
Wait, is that the guy with the axe?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in there.
There was
Is there
a
something
lot
in
of
there?
there's a lot of shit in the game that you'll discover going back through it in Umbral. Like I missed as I was trying to find my way to the final boss. I was just running through the world in Umbral to look for things that I missed, and that's how I found one of my chisels because there was a chisel hidden near a boss fight involving a face. But I never went into Umbral in that boss fight because I beat his ass.
Okay,
And then I was
yeah.
Oh, what's
There's
a
guy
chisel?
here. It's
It's a
what adds-
chisel, dog.
It adds the sockets to your lantern. That's how you can
It
have
upgrades your lantern.
lantern.
Yeah.
Hey, sick. I would love one of those.
Yeah, you get 3 slots in your lantern.
All right.
Which I kind of want to try socketing up a couple to get like the Soul Flay AoE, like suck everyone into a vacuum and then body them with some kind of radiant spell or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which on the note of damage, so is radiant supposed to be better against Rogar?
So yeah, there's this weird problem that we had where we had 3 basically factions.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do a Pokemon thing because that doesn't make sense, really. So basically it's Radiant is good against Rogar. Rogar is good against Radiant. And then Umbral is good. It is strong against any magic, but weak to physical.
So, because I had a burn sword, but red damage numbers mean you're doing over damage, correct? And gray means you're doing weakened damage.
Yes, it means it's not as effective.
Because I was getting red numbers using a fire sword against the Rogar guys, and I was mad confused.
What might be happening is that Rogar person's physical defense is lower than the assumed average, which means technically he is taking more.
Okay. Because I mean, this was obviously with an Ungabunga sword, so everybody's weak. But
it's one of the systems where I'm kind of staring at it, and in postmortem, I'm kind of like, yeah, we could have done this one a lot better.
Do you think maybe separating the numbers would be a good idea as well? Because currently, for example, in the dual wield, you cannot visually tell what actually number you did because one is getting exchanged with another one because they are appearing on exactly same spot. Just one instead of another. So you hit with the one blade and then 1 frame later you follow up with the another hit, and only the second hit actually displays. It's kind of confusing. It is even possible to change it now.
Wait, no, I had both.
No,
I had both
now.
appearing. Both were appearing for me when I was using the grand weapons.
It depends on the attack. It honestly depends on the attack. If they are very close to being concurrent, then you only see 1 hit.
Yeah,
it'll register both, but you'll see the damage number is only 1.
Yeah, that's my point. That UI is confusing in that matter.
This is more of an aesthetic question. And a decision from an aesthetic perspective, because if we start saying, okay, we want to show all the numbers, well, now we start really, we're already kind of veering a little bit into RPG land. If we start doing that, now we're really going into RPG land. And we don't know if we want to go that far, because it has...
Just make it a setting. Damage numbers on, off. There you go.
I mean, yeah, that's one way to solve it. But I know that was the crux of the discussion. And for me, I'm very much a mechanics person. I want all the math, I want all the information. But
how do you feel about a test dummy in one of those unused cells in the Skyfort?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, there should be. I love test dummies in Soul games. I want to be able to go and test things and see how hard I'm hitting because sheet DPS only tells so much.
It's
what it should also do is have a little area where if you're standing in it, so if you're testing range, it should just immediately refill your mana and you just have infinite mana and infinite ammo too.
Yeah, why
so you can really try a
wonderful area like that.
Yeah, some sort of the practice area would be pretty cool. But yeah, it's the numbers overlapping each other is especially annoying. When the status effect triggers, because then you, for example, deal damage for the amount of total of 1,000 plus, but the number displayed is 50 or 100. It's so annoying.
You want to know what y'all can do? I'm going to give you this one for free. Grab a random Rogar enemy and have the NPC be we don't know why, or he somehow got infused with Umbral and we can't kill him, and just have him chained up somewhere in Skyforge. So there's just an invincible Umbral or an invincible Rogar enemy that never dies that you can just beat on and test shit, and it's even lore friendly.
Oh, and then make him really awkward and moan weirdly because he's super into it.
We do not need moaning.
Yeah, we need that. And also make sure his feet are revealed as well.
Literally just says hurt me more and
Yep. I mean, you have 1 million self-flagellating enemies in the game. Just what's one more?
It's true.
With his feet out, of course, as well.
Within day one, every time you hit him, he just goes, Daddy.
Jesus fucking Christ. It's time to finish this podcast.
Yeah, really earn that M rating.
I'm not old enough for this conversation.
All right, listen, it's going very off topically, so hey, thank you a lot for being here.
Hey, Steel, hey.
Fuck off.
How's it going?
I'm wrapping up the podcast. Bye.
body's broken, some goes unspoken.